Hello, everybody. Let me get that off the screen. There we go. How are you?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Wellness Wednesday, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation about the mouth again. I know last week we talked about the teeth, but there's so much more that goes on in our mouth that we don't even talk about, like sublingual. Why do we have to take medicine sublingually? There's a reason why. There are a lot of pores in our mouth, and we're going to discuss a lot of stuff about the mouth. The mouth is so fascinating to me because it tells us a lot about our body that we don't even understand. We're like, what? What's going on here? Plus, it's the first. Hi.
Hi, Natural Sisters team. Awesome. Glad you're here with us.
Plus, it's the first area that we digest our food, and if we're not chewing it correctly, then we get clumps of food, and you're all seeing it come out the other end. You know about that corn that you ate 3 days ago.
I can't take you anywhere.
Exactly.
I'm just playing.
But anyway, you guys know how we start our broadcast by just talking to Crystal about her amazing testimony. Crystal she has a lot of different talents. She has a lot of knowledge. She is amazing in a lot of ways, and as we go on, you'll understand. And then we have a very special guest today. I'm so happy he's with us. But before we start, can we please, Crystal, tell us your testimony, why we decided to do Wellness Wednesday, and what you do for a living with Natural Health Hub.
Alrighty. Well, I am a holistic health coach and herb specialist. And, years ago, I got into this because I was once sick. And I was diagnosed with something called ulcerative colitis. It's an inflammatory bowel disease similar to Crohn's. A lot of people know about Crohn's more than they do colitis. And it got me down and out. I lost over 30 pounds in a month, and this happened twice in my life. I had a flare up, bleeding internally, all kinds of things came along with it, all kinds of pain, of course. And doctors wanted to talk about surgery. They talked about chemo. They said I had to be on medication for the rest of my life. They wanted to do steroids. All these things, and painkillers to mask the pain. And I tried some things. I tried steroids. I tried the ulcerative colitis medication. And I didn't do anything else past that because those two things didn't actually work. They just made things worse. And I wanted answers. I thought, I did understand that sometimes when I ate certain food, it didn't make me feel very good. Even back then, before I knew anything that I know now. And so I found this naturopathic doctor, which is also KATHEY's naturopathic doctor. And
by coincidence.
Right.
We didn't know we were going to the same doctor.
Right. And this person helped us along the way. She taught me a lot of things. And I was so sick that I was on my deathbed. And I didn't know if I was going to wake up the next day. And I was like, this stuff isn't working. So I found that I talked to the naturopathic doctor. And I was like, I need to learn everything and anything, because what I did before when I was younger, when I had my first flare up, it worked. I just didn't take it seriously, and I didn't keep, going with what she told me to do. So, after that, I had a daughter at that time. I was a single mom, and I had to make a big decision, and I had to try anything and everything that would work. And so she taught me lifestyle, diet, nutrition, taught me herbs, and then I went out and I ventured, got some certifications, learned from other people, and you know what? It became a passion of mine because I started healing, and I'm thinking if I can change my diet, my lifestyle, help my stress levels and just take care of my body, whole body, mind, and spirit. And I'm getting well. And doctor said this was uncurable, that I would have it for the rest of my life. There was something there, so I kept going with it. And that's why, me and KATHEY came together. We believe in a holistic lifestyle. We agree with the same things. A holistic lifestyle has helped her too. And we just know it works. And we're passionate about it. And we're passionate about educating other people about herbs and just things you can use. Yeah. And in your daily life, and things that aren't hard and that, you can just get from any plant store or, anything with plant food. So
I was telling a friend of mine the other day that it seems like medicines just keep us crippled to have to use medicines all the time.
Right.
Do you know of anybody that unless they are actually actively changing their lifestyle, ever get off of medicines. No, it's there to
No.
cripple us or to keep us not addicted, but we rely on them.
Yes.
To get us better. And so what is happening is that it's not dealing with the problem. It's just dealing with the symptoms. And
right.
What you and I do is we go to the cellular level.
Right. Root cause.
To get the root cause to eradicate what is happening with the meds. And that's the difference between you and I.
Right. We want to reverse what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and the body, it has its own healing mechanisms. And you know, that's what we do. We bring experts on here to bring more knowledge to the table, you know, a big variety and different experts.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. One of my favorites.
Expert on now, one of our most favorite ever is Dr. Hollis. Dr. Scott Hollis, come on down.
Hi, guys.
Yay, I'm so excited. So Hello.
I know this is your favorite, you know, subject we're going to be on today.
It is. It's one I deal with the most.
Oh my gosh. So you guys, we're going to be talking about the mouth, the tongue, the teeth, not so much as the teeth like we did you got to go back to last month where we talked about the teeth extensively. But today we're going to talk about bad breath. You guys, who wants to talk about bad breath? We want to talk about why that happens, how that happens. If you have a coating on the tongue, why that is. Again, salivating. Good. I have a lot of saliva in my mouth, and the dentist told me that's a good thing.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yep.
So he told me that was a good thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. But he didn't tell me why that was a good thing, though, which would have been great. But yeah, we're here to explore the mouth more. Did you know that you could wake up in the morning and not have bad breath? Who knows that? You know, people don't realize that you can actually wake up in the morning and not have bad breath. It depends on what you eat. It depends on if you're doing oil pulling. It depends on a lot. So, what can we start with first, Dr. Hollis?
Well, I have to start with that part.
Okay.
A lot of people don't understand that if you salivate more, I happen to be a hyper salivator too, you have a lot less chance of getting any cavities.
Yeah.
The saliva contains amylase, which is that enzyme that helps you start digesting your food.
Yeah.
Mainly carbohydrates, but it also breaks down the bacterial cells, and the extra fluid moving around keeps them from adhering to your teeth, so the bacteria can't chew on your teeth to make cavities.
That makes perfect sense. I have so few cavities, and I often wonder why. But that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, just to let you guys know, he was talking about amylase, and you said that's the one that digests the starches and the sugars and things. That helps a lot before it hits the stomach, because most of the times we don't get those types of enzymes very much in the other foods. We get protease to digest, you know, proteins. We get high lipase or any lipase to digest fats, you know. But you need that to digest that starch, those carbs, those sugars, you know, and that amylase really helps that.
That goes back to the first thing that I said, was that the mouth is the first place that we start digesting our food.
Right. That's why it's so important to chew. The more you chew, the more you salivate. It's important to bring those saliva juices out to get that enzyme going and breaking down the food already.
Breaking down that food. And so we break it down in our mouth. It's better to digest.
Right.
It's better to digest because it's actually liquefying. If you guys get down to it, we're liquefying our food so that we can go ahead and get it digested. So, Dr. Hollis, are you frozen?
I was experiencing a technical freeze, yes.
A technical. Love it. Well, we'll get through it. Don't worry.
I've discovered that if I freeze, I listen better. So.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite of fidget spinning.
So, tell me, why do we have to take medicine sublingually? And for those who don't know what sublingual is, it's under the tongue.
Correct.
You want me to answer or Dr. Hollis?
Oh.
Dr. Hollis first, and then you, Crystal.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Crystal. So most importantly, you don't have to take medicine sublingually, but
Some you do.
it is about 6 times more absorbent than any other part of your digestive tract.
And why is
So
that, Dr. Hollis?
the cells that line the inside of your mouth, particularly under your tongue, are called the buccal lining, and they are a special type of cell that only appear in one part of your body, and they absorb much better and more efficiently, and it goes directly into the bloodstream, that goes directly into the brain and down into the rest of your body. It also bypasses some of the lymphatic drainage, so we get what's called first pass absorption into the bloodstream to give you a more beneficial effect from the actual nutrients that you're trying to ingest.
Okay.
Yep. It's about a
Especially-
98%. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Especially oil-based things.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's about a 98% absorption rate when you do it sublingually under the tongue. And you always want to hold it anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds is the best. You know, the longer you hold it, obviously, the more it absorbs. I always just hold it under my tongue until it basically dissolves and there's really nothing left, because you'll know what I'm talking about. When your saliva starts that amylase starts to produce, it just kind of dissipates and you don't even know where it went, and it's like it's gone, and you just swallow the remainder.
Yep. That means it's all absorbed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So I had a question for Dr. Hollis. I was always told that for our teeth, I'm going to go to our teeth now.
Uh-oh, Kathy froze a little bit. Let's see if we can get her back going. So she said we're going to talk about the teeth. And she's about to tell us the story here.
Okay, go.
That
She's
the
back.
enamel disappears. Like once the enamel is gone off of the teeth, that it doesn't come back. So explain to us.
It can
Okay.
come back.
Okay.
In fact, we do a lot of oral health care here in our wellness and internal medicine clinic. I'm not a dentist. I don't do surgeries or fillings, but we do everything else, especially prevention leading up to fillings or surgeries or things like that. So one of the things people don't understand is that some of the patterns and habits that they have will cause premature erosion of the enamel. Coffee, tea, and soda are the top 3. Now, who are you pointing at?
Crystal. Only because we talked about something earlier today. Because a lot of people love their coffee.
Right.
And so they don't understand how acidic coffee is.
Right.
The thing about coffee is that every cup of coffee, one, it strips 250 milligrams of calcium from your bones because of the acidity. 2, it kills, when 1 cup of coffee, it kills 1/3 of your gut bacteria in the gut. So that's 1/3. So if you have 3 cups of coffee every day, which a lot of people do, you don't have to lie, you know you do. And so 3 cups of coffee kill all the good gut bacteria in the gut. And we wonder why, you know, we have these gut issues, anxiety, depression, fidgety, you know, hypersensitivity, you know, all kinds of things. And maybe skin issues, you know, people have, I know a lot of people who drink coffee all the time and they wonder why they get the cold sores and they get yeast infections and all these things because of the acidity and the yeast that keeps just growing. When you get a yeast infection or an outward rash of some sort, that doesn't mean it just happened. That means it just was so much inside your body already, it didn't know where to go, because your skin is your #1 largest elimination organ. And if it's not filtering through the kidneys and the colon properly, it comes out through the skin.
Yeah.
Correct. The skin is your largest detoxer and your largest organ, and your body uses it to clear out all kinds of things, including microorganisms and toxins.
Absolutely.
So I tell you what, so
the enamel on tooth, though.
Yeah, the enamel on the teeth. So I used to chew a lot of ice when I was before I got my uterus removed because I was low on iron. And so that is a symptom, you guys. If you're chewing ice a lot, that's because one of the reasons could be because you're low on iron. I don't know why that happens, but I tell you, I was I would chew ice as breakfast. I mean, Ask
Yeah.
anybody back when I was having a uterus. I was chewing ice. The second
Well-
my uterus got cut out, I stopped chewing ice. It was
So-
amazing.
I have a question for Dr. Hollis because you said about chewing ice. And Dr. Hollis, would you agree, or have you heard anything about chewing ice, or eating ice related to diabetes, diabetic?
I have never
Yes,
heard that.
because diabetes causes a constant drain on the kidneys where they have to use up the water that you should be getting for your cells to expel the excessive sugar in your body. So that's why diabetics often have to urinate more and they feel thirsty all the time. So the constant dripping of the water down the back of your throat helps to confuse the brain and they don't feel thirsty all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was getting at.
I never, ever. I mean, as soon as I stopped having periods, I stopped chewing ice. So, and I'm a diabetic, so that didn't work for me.
It's definitely the anemia part too.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah.
low on
Right.
iron, like you're talking about. And
And I'm
also,
surprised I don't still chew it because of that very reason, though. So that's interesting.
well, here's the thing. A lot of times also when we're anemic, or, low on iron and stuff, it's also because we also need folate, like folic acid, B vitamins, things like that, because we can't really absorb the iron and different things, and it just doesn't work. We just need that folate with it. A lot of people who are anemic, it actually starts with that, and it ends up being an iron deficiency. That's the aftermath.
Gotcha.
Well, and to process any iron or oxygen carrying in your body, you need those specific B vitamins. So the deficiency that pre-exists with the B vitamins leads to the iron deficiency or other forms of anemia. That's not the only type of anemia.
Right. Right.
I want to throw a punt in there real quick, since this is this does apply to teeth and gums though.
Yeah.
There are 6 different forms of anemia. Only one is iron deficiency anemia, or what we call IDA. But most of those other types of doctors that may not have the education or the wellness type of background, they always assume, in my experience, that it's always iron deficiency anemia. And they will tell patients to take iron when they actually don't need iron, and it can really harm your body. It is a heavy metal.
It does
It can turn your teeth gray.
Right. Well, brown and then gray. Gray is really bad. Once they turn gray, we have other problems.
Yeah,
So
and red beetroot has a lot of iron in it. So if you want something natural that's more easily absorbed and can assimilate better in the body, then go with red beetroot to get your iron.
Hey, I cook out of cast iron skillets to get my iron in too, you guys. That's all. No, it's true. It's 100% true. Get cast iron skillets, cook in them, and you will get iron as well. It's the same. It's the same element, and it is the old way. Yeah.
I could add a point if you want, as long as you don't show up and kick me later. So that type of iron that's been smelted into your pan, that's called ferrous iron. Your body really doesn't absorb it well, and when it does, your kidneys have to expel most of it. You're not going to be able to use a high percentage of it. So we use an organic form of iron that comes from a plant that has processed it through the soil.
Okay.
And organic here means bound to another molecule. It does not mean organic how it's grown. Those are 2 different uses of 2 different parts of that word.
Gotcha.
So with minerals, with minerals, there's organic and there's inorganic, and we're not referring to the lack of pesticides or herbicides when the plant was grown. We're talking about how the molecules are formed in nature and how the plant uses them to feed us those same minerals.
Right.
But I want to go back to the enamel real quickly, because so many people tell me that this is not even a discussion, that you're born with enamel and it automatically goes away, which is not true. And then they say, I've been told you can't get it back, which is not true. So when I was mentioning earlier that we treat oral health care in our clinic, it's not just something that we do. It is actually one of the most important things that we start with on almost every internal medicine patient that we accept their case, because this lays out the entire health of your entire body. and it's a two-way street. As Crystal likes to point out, if you have a problem in one of your organs, you can read that on tongue analysis, also on other types of internal medicine exams that we do for the mouth and the oral cavity, which includes the teeth, the gums, the lips, etc. But more importantly, not only does it show us when an organ is not working correctly, which if you look up acupuncture or Chinese medicine, they do a lot of tongue analysis, and they look for furrows and grooves and bumps and things like that. But also, if you have a mouth problem that's a primary problem, it can create organ disease, and it goes the other way. So it's a two-way street. So we do mouth analysis on almost every new patient that we start with that wants us to, because it is a window into the whole body's health. And then the last part about the enamel is that we have specialized products that are nutraceuticals. They are pharmaceutical grade nutrients, and they will help to replenish and protect the enamel that you still have, but also help you to regrow the enamel over time on your teeth. And
Amazing.
It's very important. Very important.
It is important. A lot of minerals are needed.
Can you put up the tongue analysis?
Yeah, absolutely. So
this is amazing.
Yeah, I just want to mention, because Dr. Hollis was talking about Chinese medicine, and that's exactly where I learned how to do tongue analysis, is taking a couple of Chinese medicine classes. And so I just want to read this out loud. It says the base of the tongue corresponds to the large and small intestine. And as you see, you know, where the you can kind of see the intestines where it's at the base of the tongue towards the back of the mouth. It depends on the coloration there. If there's any lines in the tongue, you know, that's when you're reading that, doing a tongue analysis. And then also the bladder and kidneys, which are on each side of where the small and large intestine are. And then the sides of the tongue correspond to the liver and gallbladder meridians. So if you ever notice, like, when you open up your mouth and you can see your tongue on each side, if there's little ridges or anything, that has to do usually with your gallbladder, and also has to do with your nerves. Sometimes you're overly stressed and it can leave ridges on the side of the tongue. And then the middle of the tongue corresponds to the stomach and the spleen meridians. And of course, I always look for coloration there, like discoloration, if there's white, yellow, brown cracks, you know, creases, you know, different things. And then the tip of the tongue corresponds to the lung and the heart. And what I always notice that the tip of the tongue will have like red dots. It'll be very red if something is going on with the heart or lungs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The changes in coloration that I've seen in my practice are amazing. I'd say I have at least 22 different colors that I can document.
Yep, there's a lot of colors. A heavy white coating on the tongue, a lot of people have this. I don't know hardly anyone that doesn't, because everybody has yeast in the body at least a little bit. And sometimes there can be an overgrowth of bacteria in the gut, and overgrowth of yeast, candida, all the same thing. And you'll have this thick white coating. Sometimes it can be a little greasy even. Sometimes it's just this really white coating. And you say, you know, I've had clients
that
even
you can't brush off when you're
you
taking.
cannot brush it away.
Yeah, right.
Yes, and you want to, but then your bad breath just keeps coming back. And it's also because you have to fix the stomach.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
you have to look at where it's at, where it's coming from. It's usually it stems from the stomach, because the base of the mouth is where the stomach or the large intestine is, you know, and where you absorb all your nutrients. And it's just an overgrowth, like SIBO, small intestinal gut bacteria, or, you know, overgrowth of that. So.
Well, and we go even a step further to discuss dysbiosis, which is the imbalance, kind of like SIBO.
Yeah.
But I just want to clarify something for Crystal. She's talking about the stomach and separately the intestines, and it's both. There's probably a problem in both, and I want to make sure she says that.
Yes, because a lot of people, when you have an overgrowth of it's bad bacteria, it's called endotoxins.
Right.
It's because you don't have enough good probiotics, good bacteria in the gut to tell your body like what to do, how to detox properly, all those things. So a lot of times it deals with leaky gut, because things start to leak into the bloodstream because of the overgrowth of bacteria and all kinds of things. So we want to go ahead and like kick that out. Sometimes a natural antibiotic can help with that. like an herb called golden seal. If you have an autoimmune, I wouldn't use golden seal. You know what I mean? You can do it in other ways. Chlorophyll is great. Chlorophyll is a very gentle colon cleanser. It also helps with bad breath. It naturally deodorizes the body. It helps create better circulation, works on heart health, and that's great for the gums because
you guys, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but when you do chlorophyll, your poop doesn't smell.
It's true. It's true. And you have way better bowel movements. You feel great. You know, your skin starts to glow. You know, all kinds of things can happen when you're taking chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is that green pigmentation in the plants. It's full of, you know, nutrients and things. It helps us to cleanse our liver or colon.
Oxygenate our blood.
Yeah, oxygenate the blood. Like I said, great for heart health. You know, so much it can do. And it can help your body when it's cleansed like that. And you create that when you oxygenate the blood, your body can repair faster, better circulation.
Well, I have to tell you, don't get it in your clothes, because when I flew back home yesterday, I had it in a bag and it broke open.
Oh no. Yep, it will stain it's like a blood stain, but a green dark stain.
Yeah.
When my daughter was little, we've always had chlorophyll in the house.
I had it in a bag though, Dr. Hollis, but it still spilled out a little bit.
I've had that happen on a plane ride because the bus can, you know, there's a bust in the plane, you know. But yeah, my daughter, we used to call it dragon juice because it was a way to get her to drink chlorophyll because it was so dark green and in the water and everything. I was like, you want some dragon juice? She's like, yeah, I want some dragon juice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the best thing for you guys. If you never had chlorophyll, get the chlorophyll ES. You guys, everything that we tell you, we have things that we can get for you. So please know, if you need any of this stuff, call Crystal, call Kathy, or call Dr. Hollis.
Yeah.
We have these products for you. We just don't say it out loud a lot because we don't want it to sound like an infomercial. But
get some dragon juice for your dragon breath. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
I'm going to tell my teenager that.
So yeah, another thing that causes our breath to stink too is sinus drainage.
Yes. And so you know what?
On that.
I'm glad you said that, because do you know what sinuses have to deal with?
Yes, but
your
you tell the public.
Yeah, which is your colon. And also it has to do with yeast, what we just talked about, overgrowth of yeast. So when you have sinus issues, you have most likely an overgrowth of yeast, and you need to cleanse your colon. Sometimes a lot of people who get sinus congestion and you can't like blow it out and you just get all stuffy and everything in the head, you need to start moving your bowels. If your bowels aren't moving, usually they start to get constipated and you didn't even realize that. You just knew it hurt all up in here and you can't think, and it's because your bowels aren't moving. They've stopped and you need to get them moving.
So we tell patients that think of your sinuses as the top of your chimney or your smokestack. If you have problems at the top, that means it had to have built up at the bottom and then up the middle and all the way up the chimney, all the way to the top if you have problems at the top.
Agreed.
It's directly connected. It's literally like stacking Legos. We have to go all the way to the bottom and treat.
Yep. It's because everything begins in the gut. Everything, you know, all disease begins in the colon, the inflammation, you know. It's because that's what we put in our body. Remember, food is medicine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to the sinus drainage, though, what do you guys, other than, because I always tell people it has a lot to do with the liver. Am I wrong in saying that?
It can, and because
okay,
colon, liver, all of it, you know, it's all congestion. Because the liver's not producing, and the gallbladder's not producing that bile to move out stuff through the colon, you know, it's just overworked. When your liver gets sluggish, you do stop pooping. For instance, painkillers, opioids create that constipation because it causes your liver and like just to basically slow down, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do because your liver has over 500 functions. It cannot. You have to give it a break. We'll just say, you know.
Well, I do know this one thing. If you get rid of dairy, milk, cheese, cream cheese, all that stuff,
butter, everything,
cottage cheese, all of it. Well, I'm not giving up my butter, but
hey, I told you about my vegan butter, and you said
you haven't taught me how to make it yet.
You know what? I'm gonna make it for you.
I'm telling you right now, you guys, when you get rid of ice creams and things like that, your sinuses, they will stop draining like that because it's mucus forming. I mean, how could it not?
Nasal drip. Mm-hmm.
It's mucus forming, and so you're fighting against your own body when you're placing those things in your body. So every time I eat ice cream, or every time, I can tell, because I don't eat it as often. So the minute I eat cheese, the next morning I'm congested. I'm congested because of the mucus forming.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because like post-nasal drip, you know, when your sinuses drip down the back of your throat and it goes into your stomach, that creates H. pylori, a bad bacteria in the gut, causing, you know, all kinds of inflammation and crazy sort of things. And to you can't keep eating dairy and sugar. Those are the main causes of why people wonder why the nasal drip was coming. And I'm like, why don't eat any sugar? I'm like, well, do you still have dairy? And that's usually cause, or vice versa, you know? And so you don't want your sinuses to keep dripping, because that is bacteria that is dripping down in your stomach, causing more bad bacteria. We don't want that H. pylori to happen, because that can cause ulcers, all kinds of things down the road.
Nor can you digest it, you guys. You can't digest your mucus. It's not digestible. Go ahead, Dr. Hollis.
No, you're doing great.
Yeah, I get so excited.
I know, right? This is so amazing to talk about our mouth and our breath and everything. So, did you know that you could wake up without having any bad breath? Let me tell you how.
Correct.
Well, the way I do it, Dr. Hollis, you might be able to have another method, and Crystal, you might have another method. For me, I oil pull.
That's a good one.
Oil pulling is freaking amazing, and I've been talking about it since we've been on air. I feel confident in the morning, and I'm not killing people. And what I do is I oil pull. I get a big glob of coconut oil, organic coconut oil. I put some peppermint on it, and I put some essential shield on it. Pop it in my mouth, and I go in the shower. Don't look at a clock, you guys. It'll never end. It'll never end. So do something. Wash dishes, or get in the shower, or write a note to somebody. I don't care what you do, but do not look at the clock.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
And Kathey's right on. It's because it pulls the bacteria, it kills the bacteria, it pulls it out, you know, and that's what's causing that bad.
Don't swallow it either, and don't spit it down your sink, you guys. Spit it in the trash, or spit it in a receptacle. It will kill your plumbing. And don't swallow it. It's not good for you to swallow. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Crystal.
Because it pulled out pulled out all those toxins. So now, and that's why you don't do it forever, but you do it for a little bit, like 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere around there. I'm not sure how long you do it, but you'll have the bacteria in there, so you don't want to re-swallow that and put it back in your body. You do want to discard it in a trash can or something.
Yeah. Right.
What are you going to say, Dr. Hollis?
I was agreeing with you.
So what are other ways? I know how I do it. How do you guys do it? What's another way to get to not have, other than eating well? Because when you eat a lot of greens.
I was going to go really super simple and tell you that the most important #1 cause of bad breath for all time is not flossing. The food actually putrefies down inside the gums between your back molars, especially anything stringy like meat or shredded meat.
True.
But halitosis, which is bad breath, also can come from the stomach, even if your mouth is crispy clean. So morning bad breath needs to be reported to your doctor immediately. There can be really bad things going on. H. pylori is one of them, but there are other really bad bacteria and even some viruses that can do that. Also, we see lots of people with chronic swollen and infected, even pus-filled tonsils and adenoids that they don't realize are even a problem, and they don't realize that they're even swollen or that they have a chronic issue. And that will make you smell like dragon breath in the morning. And there's no dragon juice that will fix that. Although I don't recommend a tonsillectomy or an adenectomy either. There are natural ways to treat those as well.
Now you tell me. My poor daughter had her adenoids and tonsils out. That's what I was told to do by the doctors. So,
well, if you didn't know me then you're not at fault. You shouldn't say that at all.
I didn't know you.
Okay, you're off the hook.
Okay.
But
Oh, goodness.
one of the reasons we have a concierge clinic, one of the reasons we have a 24-hour phone number and we're available 7 days a week, 365, is so that we can be at people's beck and call, and you can run things like that past me before you start or stop or change anything with your health or even just your diet, before you go and buy something, before you get a chance to even find out if you should do something. You can run it past us.
And you
Yeah.
guys, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I think that's awesome because I've had clients, someone who almost got their gallbladder taken out, and that, I mean, if you have at least 10% functioning or any type of percentage, there's always something we could possibly do to help get the gallstones out and get it, the inflammation down.
Well, one thing Dr. Hollis said once is that once you have surgery, you can never not have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Once you've been
permanent.
cut on, you can never not be cut on. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a permanency. And so prior to doing that, you should always, try to talk to a holistic doctor, do your own research. I say that every time. The other thing is, if you're having children, you guys, if you're new parents, please talk to a holistic doctor or talk to one of the three of us, because there are so many things that I did thinking that I was doing the right thing and learning now. I could have done a whole lot better for my kids. Right. So knowing is knowing, but power is doing.
Yeah.
And so if I knew what I knew now back then, a whole lot of things would be different. I honestly believe my mother would still be living because I would have things that I would have been able to help her through her cancer. And even my father, with the stress that he was going through, he died at 46 of maybe a heart attack. We're not for sure what. But even with him, we would be able to. I know, Dr. Hollis, 46 is so young.
It is
and
very
I miss
young.
him so much. I really do.
Well, and that's not the only thing. It was obviously preventable, at least to some extent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he had gone to the doctor a couple of days prior to and he complained about back issues. I think they could have totally helped my dad, and they did not do their job. So,
you can repair things. I just have like a personal testimony I wanted to share because when my colon was inflamed and ulcerated, and with ulcerative colitis, years ago when I had that flare up, 3 feet of my colon was all ulcerated and inflamed, and it was near the rectum and upward, of course. And they talked about doing surgery, taking it out, replacing it, whatever, all these things. And I'm 24 years old, and I'm like, no, sir, no thanks. And
because they were talking about colostomy bag, correct?
Yes, and or reconstructing things. And I was like, that don't sound good. I can't reverse that. And so, like I said in the beginning, I changed my diet and lifestyle nutrition. I kept going back. Less and less of my colon was ulcerated. Less and less was inflamed, and I reversed it. So, yes, you can reverse stuff. I just want to let everybody know that it's possible. I was told by doctors that I couldn't have reversed that. There's no possible way, and it's going to be like that unless we cut it out of you.
Well, and the other thing, guys, is all of that still goes back to one of my main topics of every talk, is the leaky gut syndrome and the food allergies that people don't understand that they have. And everything you mentioned was what led up to that. If somebody had met with you and talked with you sooner, they could have helped you down that path sooner, and you may not have ever even gotten to that point. But thank God that you were an intelligent and still young enough person,
proactive,
that you knew that you didn't want to have that done, and that you didn't want to go down that path, which is irreversible if you had had that surgery. So we teach people that we offer a very affordable food allergy test here that is so comprehensive it'll knock your socks off. It's 184 different food tests, and it comes with a 30-page booklet that teaches you how to relive your shopping and your cooking and your grocery shopping, everything that you need to do to protect yourself eating out and things like that. And we offer it as a wellness test to help you treat and cure all these things that are plexing your body. The brain is perplexed with how many different things are going wrong at the same time. It can't possibly heal all of them.
Right.
So
Right.
we have to intervene and fix that.
What I love that you say too, Dr. Hollis, is that our body wants to be healed.
Right.
And that's why it's reversible. And that's why there's a time you and Crystal both set the time. Like if you have an ailment for a certain amount of years, you can reverse that in a year and a half, possibly. You can reverse it in a year at the cellular, at the root cause, not as a symptom. And that's absolutely amazing to me that, you know, we don't have to be settled with a lot of stuff that we're settled with. And I've reversed a lot of pains in my body. I think, by the way, I didn't tell you. Oh, well, I'm not going to say that. Yes, I will. Dr. Hollis, I think I broke my foot when I went to,
I told you not to leave town.
I rolled my heavy suitcase over it, and it got, I felt something in there. So I got to come see you sooner than not.
Yes, you dented your foot.
I did something to it.
All right.
So I need to come get an x-ray, but you know, I broke that same ankle in 2 spots and didn't know it.
Right.
Oh my
and walked
goodness.
on a broken ankle for years.
Yeah, you walked on it for years.
Oh yeah. And
Minerals. Take your minerals.
Anyway, so my point is that we just need to get to the doctors and get our bodies looked at and get a comprehensive healing path that we can absolutely do. And I don't want my ankle rebroken to set it correctly, but I feel like that has to happen sometimes because it's just so turned inward. But I mean, if that's what has to happen, he says we don't have to do it that way, which is amazing. So I'm excited about getting that foot turned back right. And then if it is broken, then we can see what's going on with that. But make a long story short, we're not talking about my feet. We're talking about our breath.
So one last thing about that. A lot of people don't understand that you have to brush twice a day, but most people don't even know you're supposed to brush your tongue.
I do too.
I know you guys do.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But it's the sides, it's the front, and it's all the way back to the back, almost to the point where you're going to gag. And if you do it enough times, you can actually learn to suppress the gag reflex, and you can brush even further back. And if you brush back behind the part where you have taste buds, that's where the fungus and the candida and the yeast, that's where they all live. So that is very, very important. People forget to floss and brush.
That reminds me, did you know, because you're talking about the back behind where all the bacteria grows, another good way is to gargle chlorophyll. Gargling chlorophyll can take away, and it kills yeast. It also helps with the bad breath, and then it can help with a sore throat because it coats it back there. So if you ever have a sore throat, you can gargle chlorophyll instead of salt water.
You guys, actually, gargling is an art. You have to learn how to do it. So practice gargling. Don't try to kill yourself, but practice that.
Right.
But that's a good idea. And I think oil pulling helps with all that as well, you guys. It has to, because it's not being able to adhere to all of the stuff. It's so slick.
You get in between the teeth too, all in between where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Well, and bigger deep breaths, tipping your head back farther, and more liquid in the back of your mouth will help you learn to gargle better. Also, we use combinations of warm salt water with a solution mix of colloidal silver. We use it as a nasal rinse through a nasal bottle, or what's called a neti bottle. And then you also can gargle the same solution. Not after you put it through your nose, but you can make enough of the same solution to gargle it and use it through a neti bottle through your nose for your sinuses.
Dr. Hollis, I spray colloidal silver in my nose every time I walk out of my house.
Very good.
So it's interesting. I'm just because salt actually deactivates colloidal silver.
So
It
I don't
depends.
know to put it together, you
It
mean?
depends on how it's
Yes.
made. There's two types of the way it's made. But I know there's another, like, I've read about something, another type of silver, but I know that salt usually deactivates. Well, the silver that I have, salt deactivates it.
Yeah, we'll
Because
have to
salt will attach.
compare. It depends on the type of silver and the type of salt.
Okay.
Okay,
Gotcha.
that's a good tip.
And you can always separate them if you have the time to do it separately.
Right. Yeah, I try not to eat a high salt, content when I do my nasal sprays, or when I literally gargle with it and then, swallow. I mean, not gargle, but swish and then swallow. I think it's been helping. Because I've been doing a lot of traveling and I've not gotten ill.
Yeah, colloidal silver is great. It's antibacterial, it's antiviral, it's antifungal, and anything that it stands on within 1 minute, it kills all of that. Like within 1 minute, it kills like all of it, eradicates it.
So yeah, I've been doing quite a bit. So with all the traveling I'm doing, it's a staple with me.
It's important. Silver gel. I love using silver gel because you can just put it in your nose a little bit and it protects when you breathe in. You don't want to breathe in viruses. Right when as something's coming in like bacteria or virus, it can kill it on sight, without you breathing it into your orifices. And you can put it in your ears you don't want to put it on all your orifices when you know you're going to be around a lot of people on a plane. The plane, I even take, you can take silver spray, or you can make your own like essential oil, or you might not want too much smell in it because I know some people might complain, but you can get an enzyme spray or a silver colloidal spray and just spray around your seat in your area. That's always a good thing to do. I always do that when I'm traveling.
And another tip that you did was the spray in your face mask, you guys, as you're going.
Oh yeah, that too.
Putting in your face mask. Not only is it killing what's there, but it's also killing what you're breathing in, which is a really good tip that you gave me.
Another one I like, I recommend usually is using a nasal spritzer, but putting colloidal silver in that. And when you sniff that up your nose, it goes into this part where usually you have your sinuses and the yeast is growing. And sometimes we can actually have memory loss, or people with Alzheimer's or dementia struggle with this. And it actually improves some of their memory function when they use silver daily. I've noticed that in my clients. Using silver daily kills that fungus in that yeast that's growing right up there.
I have actually noticed that my memory is better. I'm not even kidding.
That's awesome.
I'm not kidding.
That's awesome.
And I did not know that is why. Because people ask me to remind them something. I'm like, and I am able to read. Thank you, Crystal. I'm not able to talk.
Yeah, if you've had sinuses, if you've had sinus issues all your life or something, that might be something you want to use to prevent things from happening in the future later on down the road with memory, cognitive function, anything, because it kills that right there. So
yeah, that's simply amazing. Okay, so one more thing before we go. I know that we're winding down, but Dr. Hollis, sensitivity in teeth. What is that? Is it because the enamel is leaving? Is it because the nerve endings are more prominent? What's going on with sensitivity in teeth?
Most of the time, it's because the enamel has been eroded away in a spot or all over the entire tooth, or there's a crack in the tooth. The nerve is nowhere near the surface of the tooth. The enamel, though, is solid. The rest of the tooth is a honeycomb of what we call trabeculae. It is porous. It is a network of intertwining connections, like one of those weaved baskets, the wicker baskets. So if you erode the outer protective shell, then you can get sensitivities in there at the middle where the nerve is. But that's why we teach that if you have any sensitivities, call me, or you can call the dentist, but we don't recommend you call them first. Sensitivity to hot, sensitivity to cold is usually a crack or some sort of an erosion of the enamel. Some people grind their teeth at night. That will do it. Some people rub their tongue like almost like a worry stone they used to have in the old Indian days, where you would rub on the stone. People rub their tongue on their teeth. We also see it with people who hit their teeth when they chew, or if they hit it with a spoon or a fork, or if you chew on a spoon or a fork. A lot of people seem to do that. That will erode the enamel off the teeth. But now we're back to the number one is coffee, tea, and soda. So when you erode that with those acids, and also citrus fruit, if you're eating a lot of citrus fruit, and
Like
smoothies are
pineapple
great.
and
Yep.
Or lemon, straight up lemon.
Tomato,
yeah.
tomato
Tomatoes.
is a really
Yeah.
bad one. And people think that smoothies and shakes are great, and they are. And juicing is great, but you have to protect your teeth first. So, you know, we teach people to use a straw and shoot it straight down the back of their throat. We teach them to use the coconut oil or the silver gel to coat their teeth before they drink their smoothie or before they drink their juice if they're juicing. That's very important. But yes, if you have your intact enamel, you should not have sensitivity. The other thing is if you have had a filling or a crown, especially if you had a root canal, which we can talk for hours about the dangers of root canals. But if you've had work done on a tooth, you need to have it checked with a microscope, not just the doctor's eyeballs at the dentist or the natural doctor like me. You need a magnifying glass because where they did the previous work for a filling, the tooth will erode from away from the edges of the filling, and then it will crack the tooth and you'll get sensitivity there as well.
Wow. Well, that just hit a lot of the, if not all of them. So,
I have some patients who come in just for oral health care, and that's all they do.
Well, and then again, when we spoke last month, we talked about each tooth. Well, there are two area. I mean, all the areas, two teeth at a time, are
two teeth
also related to an organ. And I remember I don't have a cavity, but that tooth was aching me, and it had to do with my liver, and I had no idea something was going on with my liver. So I had to do something with that. But yeah, I tell you guys, the mouth is so fantastic. I mean, how can you say anything other than fantastic? Not only do they have pretty smiles like Crystal and Dr. Hollis here, but they are absolutely, I mean, our mouths tell us a lot about our bodies, you guys. And we need to pay attention to our mouths. Cold sores, even sores within the mouth, you guys. You got to check things out.
Stomach related, digestive system. That's all I got to say about that one.
You cold sores?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the herpes virus, of course. So it's a virus deeply embedded somewhere.
It is a virus. Yeah. Some of them can, absolutely. So there are things that you guys, if you ever have any questions about anything, please contact Crystal and I. Our website is right below, and we will get you in contact with Dr. Hollis, of course. But you can call him directly in his place of business as well, which is his clinic here in Blue Springs. He does a lot of things virtually as well, you guys. So you don't have to necessarily be right in front of him. He can do a lot of things virtually. So Dr. Hollis is amazing. But we are wrapping up, you guys. Thank you, Dr. Hollis, for absolutely being with us today. You are amazing in everything that you say and you do. You make it where we can understand it. And that's art, actually. When you're as smart as you are, if you guys could see his door, it's Dr. Hollis and then all of these different, initials after him. Like, it's 12 of them, isn't it? It's just every.
Yeah,
14.
I didn't list all of them.
It's 14. I was close. 14 initials after him, you guys. He's always going for education. He's always going to another convention. He's always trying to learn things. And everything I bring to him, only one or two things I brought to him he didn't know. And I felt so good. I was able to stump him. So you guys, just know that health is wealth. And when you're green inside, you're clean inside. Love you guys all. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. Like and share. Thank you.
Bye.